Yeah, YouTube, what up? Welcome to another edition of Wrestling with Watts. I'm Watts, and today this is not necessarily about a recap. This is not necessarily about a wrestler. This is wrestling Twitter that I want to talk about. Now, I'm gonna start with love. There's a lot of wrestling Twitter pages that I find hilarious. There are a lot of wrestling Twitter pages that I find very insightful, teaches you about a lot of things that you might not have known about the sport, the art form, or anything like that. A lot of pages that are great for memes. There are a lot of pages that you can learn something from. So when I say I hate wrestling Twitter, I'm not talking about them. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of sad that I have to start off with something like that. But let me proceed. I hate wrestling Twitter because, well, for a plethora of reasons, but the straw that broke the camel's back, to be honest, I saw a post last night that said, no disrespect, but NXT never felt so auraless. And the person was referring to the Battle Royal for the number one contenders match that's happening next week. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, how exactly? I'm looking at Trick Williams in the match. I'm looking at Timothy Thatcher, which I'm not going to lie, that dude is a dog. I love Timothy Thatcher, and I really wish they utilized him a lot better on his first run in WWE. But there's always opportunities to grow. There's always an opportunity to come back in wrestling. So, real spill, I'm not worried about that. But that dude is a freaking dog. And when he was teaming with Tommaso Ciampa, I'm not going to lie, that was lit. My point is, how the hell is NXT auraless? And what people tend to forget is that NXT is developmental. It's a developmental territory, a developmental brand. People tend to forget that because NXT is on TV now. You know what I'm saying? The TV deals, you know what I'm saying? The ads and all of this good stuff. And at one point in 2019, it was almost being sold as a third brand. And I feel like down the line, it will end up being a third brand too, due to the fact that, we got Evolve and a lot of the guys that's on the reality TV show of the new WWE TV show with Undertaker and them. A lot of them is going to get either a fast track to NXT if they're that good, or they're going to go to Evolve. I'm not sure. I think because Level Up is still a thing, but all I'm saying is there's a lot of developmental territories and stuff like that within the WWE that people forget that NXT is still developmental. You know what I'm saying? And I don't care for that because it's just like a lot of these conversations and a lot of these posts just be engaged for engagement. It be, as the kids say, aura farming. You know what I'm saying? I hope I said that right because, I'll be 30 next year. I really don't be with the times. But my point is, let things play out first. How the hell we talking about this place, NXT has no aura? You guys, well, not everybody, but obviously there's a lot of people who either A, just got here. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not no gatekeeper. I want everybody to be a fan of wrestling, you know what I'm saying? Because that's how the wrestlers make more money. And I'm talking about on the indie scene, I'm talking about WWE, AEW, New Japan, all across the board. The more people know about wrestling and the more people are willing to put money into the pockets of these of the WWE or what have you, a lot more people will make a lot of money for putting their bodies on the line, and I want that. But don't act like you've been here this whole time. That's my thing. There's people who just started watching wrestling in 2021 and think that they could gatekeep. And I'm not saying to be a wrestling encyclopedia by any means, but don't act like you know what's going on when you really don't know what's going on. You wasn't around when the Shield broke up, but you gonna sit here and tell me, oh nah, like, oh this person right here, they're not as good as they used to be, or this person sucks. And it's like, you wasn't even here when they was in their prime. They're here, like, some people they'll say things like, "Oh, Finn Balor's not that great," and it's like, "Excuse me." Finn Balor's not great. What do you mean Finn Balor isn't great? Like, you got here after he wasn't the Demon no more. You got here after the Bullet Club. You got here after he was running NXT in his first and second run. So, what do you mean Finn Balor was never that good, but you started watching wrestling in 2019? Be for real. I'm gonna need everybody to understand and hear me good. I don't want this YouTube channel to become a hate page, per se, or, oh, he has nothing nice to say. And you know me, I have no love for Triple H. But some of the stuff that he said about the IWC does hold weight. Because what do you mean? Sometimes I'll be looking at some of these posts, and people be correcting them in the comments like, yo, what do you mean this? Or what do you mean that? Or said this. I wish I had more evidence to support what I'm saying. I only have one Twitter post that I put in here, but we know what's going on. Some things don't even need an expert amount of examples for something to really be said or somebody to really call it out. There's people who on here, I'm not the first or the last person to call out wrestling Twitter. You know what I'm saying? And I say wrestling Twitter because that place is where people just get their thoughts off. And it's like, think before you say what you're going to say. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying it because you're going to get dragged if you say the wrong thing. It's like, make sure that you're saying something that makes sense. That's all I'm saying. Like, don't sit here and, because I'm not going to lie, I'm not a wrestling encyclopedia. Anything before 1991, I can't really tell you much about. I liked Randy Savage. I liked Bob Backlund and whatnot. But I never liked Hulk Hogan. I never liked the slow pace of wrestling. I like technical wrestling. I like high flying wrestling. I like British strong style. I like Japanese strong style wrestling. That's what I like. You don't get that in the 80s for real unless you're looking hard enough for it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying I know everything about wrestling, but I've been in this game for years, and I know when people are just saying shit just to get a click, just to get a share, just to get a like. And that's bad business because there's people who are still trying to learn about the sport, and they're going to take this person's word for it, and they don't know shit. That's why I get so mad. But yo, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Am I bugging? Because it's getting out of hand now. And it's getting to the point where I just want to, like, delete all my social media, really and truly. But yeah, man. Yo, I appreciate everybody who's tuned in. And I promise I'm going to keep on tapping in. Like I said, I don't care if 200 people hear me, 2 people hear me, 2,000 people hear me, 200,000 people hear me. I'm tapping in. And for the people who do appreciate this, I appreciate y'all. But yo, I'm out. Peace.